Hi, I am Dr. Charlita Jones, and this is the 5 things that you must know about sponsorship, part 2. So, doing the 5 things that you must know about partnership, part 1, I just gave you just a quick overview what sponsorship was. Just 5 important things that you needed to know about sponsorship. But this is part 2. I'm going to tell you some of the things or some of the steps I take to get sponsorships and how I learned about sponsorships. So number one, the number one thing that I do in order to get a sponsorship, and how I very first learned about this was through a job where I worked at. It was a top major company, and I had a lot of opportunities to do some major initiatives with this particular company. And what I realized that I needed someone to sponsor me. It was something that I had learned in a training or a module or something that I had taken through this company because they were so big on promoting from within. They were real huge about diversity, and their shoe was especially huge about education. And so we was able to get trained over literally everything about personal life, business life, work life, just everything. And so what I did about learning about sponsorship, number one, you need to know what it is. You need to have a clear understanding what sponsorship was. And so I gave a top 5 things in sponsorship, part 1. So you go back and look at that video and then you come here. But you got to understand what it is. It's not mentorship. It's a big difference. Being able to have sponsors in your life are those key people that makes important decisions behind your back. Important decisions, and they sit at the table with important people. And so you know that when something come across a desk in a focus group, in a business meeting, a financial meeting, and if your name come across it, you know that that particular person or those people, because they know you, they're going to have your back and you will not be forgotten. Especially if you're trying to move up in a company, you're trying to grow your business, you're trying to get some places in your church, or anything that requires for you to grow, develop, and increase or expand, you need that sponsor. And then the next thing that I do, for me, I immediately, I always start doing my research. How can I make those connections to those important people? Listen, those people that can make some decisions. And so, not only that, you got to understand that you can't burn bridges with people. You need to have a good attitude. You never know who you're going to meet. You need to always be perky. First impression is very important. So when I was in this particular company, I was everywhere. I was in human resource. I was joining focus groups that they had. I was volunteering for all kinds of different initiatives. I was willing to move around. I changed schedules. I drove the distance. Even as a single mom, I got my college education. A part of it started with my MBA through the education, and so I just start finding out ways to network and I created a list. So the third thing that I do is I make build those intra relationships and interpersonal relationships. And so when I was at this particular company, I had my own crowd of people that I knew. So I used their people, but I also too made friends with people in human resource. I made friends with people in the training department. I made friends in other departments and stuff. And so it's important that you reach out to people that you know. As it relates to my business here, when I started my business, which is Beautiful Wigs and etc. I do taxes, I do Mary Kay, and I'm tell you everything that I do, I got someone that has sponsored me financially. You need that. You need someone that's going to speak on your behalf. People that you know that does not have a problem sowing into your life. There was a season where my biggest financial sponsors was my children. Believe it or not, all of them are they're full grown self sufficient adults, and they sponsored me financially. They gave me pretty good allowance for me to be able to sow into my own businesses. And so there was a season. So now they're moving on with their lives and got other things they're trying to save, and they don't have time for me financially. But that is okay, because where one door closed, another one opens. And so you gotta have uh 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 chase and have those people that where you can bring it into your life. Faith without works is dead. So you got to put some work to it. Another thing that I do to increase and build sponsors in my life is I'm very transparent. I ask. You got to ask. You got to let people know your needs. And you have to, I There's just nothing in my life that I do not have a sponsor for. There is nothing in my life that there is not someone in my life that's strong decision maker and that's going to help me. I remember there was a period in my life and I was going through some legal matters. I made friends with the individual that was overseeing one of the processes in the legal matter. I befriended her. Guess what? In the end, I needed her. She connected me to someone else important and helped me in my legal matter, and I saw victory. So I'm here to tell you that you have to think outside the box. You're gonna have to go for it. You're gonna have to ask for that sponsorship and those sponsors to be in the part of you. So that's another thing that I do to get the sponsorships. And then one more thing too that I do to get sponsorships, and I mentioned it in the other video. I just do a lot of research. I whatever pertaining me, I look to see what is it that I need. So you need to know what you need. No one else knows what you need. You need to know that. So you got to do some work. You really got to do some work in order to obtain and get those sponsorships and get people that really just believe in you and was so into you. And then finally, the things that I do as it relates to always just keeping those sponsors and having them close to me, I diversify. I look to man, I look to woman, big church, large church, far as the west is from the east and the north is from the south. I don't hold no limits. I ain't prejudiced. Uh I adapt. You got to be adaptable when you're looking for sponsors because you never know where the Lord is going to bring your money. So I just wanted to quickly come back and tell you some of the things that I do in order to get sponsors. And sponsors is not the same as mentorship. Sponsors in your life is people that got strong to make it a strong making decision making skills in an aspect of your life. They got the ability to be able to bring something in the table for you. But I do want to say that when you do get those sponsorships and people that's sponsoring you and people that's helping you to move forward, and as you move forward, make sure you look back and bring others with you. Don't be selfish, okay? So those are the top 5 things that I do and I have done and I still do to this day to get sponsors and get people that will have faith and believe in me and so into my life so that I can expand, so that I can grow, so that I can increase in my net profits because that's what it's all about. So that I, as a reverend and as a clergywoman, to know how I could be more gifted in talent and building my connections with souls and then service to be able to provide it with all the resources that I need. And all the resources is not just in me alone, it is in having good sponsors. So I just wanted to encourage you, part 2, on how I get sponsorships in my life. Thank you. I am Dr. Charlita Jones. I want to thank you so much for being here with me today and look forward to more on the top 5 things that I know about life.